Madsen is howling on James McFadden.
It's basically like rebuilding a car basically after the race, where you take all the injectors out, clean all the pistons, everything like that, take the exhaust pipes off, make sure nothing's scorched, everything like that.
G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Work Area Podcast. In studio today, one of the crew chief ones. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I think we're going to learn a lot. There's too many titles for you, but yep, Glen Beaton, mate. Thanks for coming in. It's been a bit of a work in progress to get you in, mate. But I'm stoked to have you in. So thanks for coming in.
No worries, mate. It's good to be here.
I got it now. Slade Shocks, Glen Beaton. Thanks for coming in.
That'll do.
Yeah, perfect. Mate, so I usually try and start it with what we're doing, but I think we're going to have to do this chronologically with everything that you have done, mate. Like I said, you've been not the hardest, but the most comprehensive research, because there's some stuff on the list that you've done, mate. So, yeah, I'm excited to get through it. I'm just going to crack right into it, mate. So, the start of your career, like I've seen it was go-karts and stuff like that, but I guess your first foray into speedway, what got you stuck into it?
I did my apprenticeship lived in Ballarat originally. Did my apprenticeship, got early release from there, went down to Melbourne, worked on V8 Supercars full time. Just handed the shit out of a guy to give me a job, and finally got a job, got in there, smaller team, moved into Gary Rogers Motorsport, a bit more professional for 2 or 3 years, Garthander, Jamie Whincup days. And it was just getting too political, and there was just too much bullshit, really, and just getting a bit sick of it. And always loved speedway. My mum's family come from Warrnambool, so we're always at the Classic and New Year's Day and all the races down there. So I thought, you know what, I need to get into this, and if I can get into it and get paid, well, even better. And if I can see the world and get paid, I'd do that. That'd be good.
So just with the V8 Supercars, what was your job?
First of all, started there as a machinist for John Faulkner Racing, but that was really entailed everything because it was such a small privateer team. So we did the pit stops and mechanicking and just everything. So that was good. And then we moved over to Gary Rogers Motorsport, did the sub-assembly there, gearboxes, rear ends, all that type of stuff, and number 2 mechanic, and just all the pit stops. And then it was a good time. It was good to single man's job for sure, but
plenty of hours.
Yeah, so many hours, but it was good. Like we used to do the GDP with the Monaros, with Brock racing them, all them type of 24-hour race and all that. So that was good.
With that, do you, like you're in the pits and stuff, do you actually get to watch any of the racing like you would in Speedway, or are you just busy doing other stuff, you can't see the track and you're just watching it on TV?
Yeah, you're always getting ready for the next pit stop and getting tyres ready and stuff. Not that you can see much of the track anyway, so you're sort of always watching the monitors and the timing and just getting organised and getting ready to go. So not really. And
then you've jumped into the Speedway. What was your first little gig there?
So it was a bit of a weird deal because I was working for Valvoline, Gary Rogers Motorsport, and then I decided, I need to get into the Speedway. So let's try and how we're going to sort of work this out, because there's obviously not many paid gigs or gigs at all. So we had to try and go somewhere where we sort of knew. So I contacted Max Dumsney just because of the fact that he knew Gary and Valvoline, all that sort of thing. So I contacted Max. He had Brendan Telfer and Meyers working for him at the time. And at the time, and still are, there's only two guys per crew, really. So I was like, I'm going to struggle to get on here, And anyway, he said, yeah, come give us a hand. Like, volunteered for 5 months, I think it was. Just nothing, just to try and get out there and get my name out there. So just had to do it, and paid dividends. So,
and then is that your first job was with Max, or did you branch off?
Well, that was non-paid, but it was still a job. Like I still travelled with them and did everything they did, but drank a lot of beer and learned how to do that real quick. That was completely different to what I was used to, that's for sure. But it was a good time. Max is a legend of the sport. Always looked up to him, and also Mouse and Brendan. Like, they just learnt so much in that first year, which then, propelled me went to America straight after that.
What about the transition between the V8 Supercars and Speedway? Was there a difference in professionalism, or obviously you've gone to Max, which would have been the team at the time?
Yep.
Did you bring a level of professionalism, or was it already there?
They were pretty high up back in the day. Like we won World Series that year, I think, and you know, they were at the top of their game. So it was just me just tagging along really and just trying to be a sponge and learn what I could.
And then to go to America, well, I just did one with Liam Spitzer. He flew over and then started calling people. Did you at least call and get something sorted before you went?
We were lucky enough back in the day, the Outlaws Down Under were at Parramatta.
Yep.
So they had a big, massive tent there in the pits and all the teams were in there, all their gear. And, you know, every time when we raced there at that time, like I made sure that I went there after each night and spoke to as many people as I could to try and get a start. Got a few business cards and bits and pieces. And as soon as they got home, I just started ringing and start hounding and finally got something. And, yeah, flew to Pennsylvania from Melbourne 5 flights later because I was a tight ass. And
Where did you go via Antarctica?
Hong Kong, I think. I was everywhere. So it was a long trip.
And who was that for? Who was the first gig?
So Lonnie Parsons was the car owner, the number 6 Casey's General Store car. Tim Schaefer drove it.
Okay.
So he said, "Yeah, come on over. You know, let's come on. We'll see you. We'll see you at the track. Get out to the track." So it was so weird. Just flew over there. Had this random chick pick me up that someone back then had hose heads and messenger and talked to this guy on there. And he'd teed his friend up to pick me up from the airport. Yeah. She took me to a trailer park, had a shower. She goes, "You want some dinner?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, that'd be awesome. Like, I'm just cooked." Get there, and she's like, "You want, what'd she say? You want a hot dog and chips?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sweet. That sounds good." And she brings out the hot dog, and there's just potato chips. You know, it's not chips like fries.
Yeah.
So I had that, slept for about a day, I reckon. And then, she took me out to the track and jumped in the truck and off we went.
How long did you live in America?
Well, the first few years we just did the first 2 years, I think I did might have been the first year, did 3 months.
Yep.
And straight home because that's all you can stay, obviously.
Yeah, with the visa.
Yeah. And then the next few years we did 6 months here and 6 months there. And then when I worked for Meyers, I think I lived there for 2 or 3 years.
Well, what was the progression then? Like, is that the more you went to America, the more you think this is where I need to be?
Yeah, but it's just racing flat out. It was what I lived and breathed back then. And like, it's once again, single man life. Like, you're just on the road racing. And the best part about it for a while was we were doing racing here and there. Like, it was endless summer.
Yeah.
110 to 120 nights a year.
No winter.
No.
And the first team, did you stay with them long, transition? Like,
did the 3 months.
Yep.
Yep.
Then next year, someone different? Or
Yep. Got to know people as you're sort of working through the pits, and I think I was getting $200 a week or whatever, you know, similar to what Liam was. I thought that was a pretty good story the other night.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy, and I don't know who he is, but yeah, that was cool to see how people are. When you want to do it, you can do it. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're getting $200 a week and just living life on the road, and it was you get to know everyone because you always hang out in the same hotels and they travel together. And yeah, went back the next year and worked for, I think it was Terry McCall the year. Oh no, it was the R19 car, I think it was, Jason Sobel.
Okay.
So
then
went there for 6 months. That was when the split happened, the Outlaws and NST. So we didn't commit to anyone. We were just racing. We were just following the no rain program. So we just raced flat out. So good.
So with that, they call it the true outlaw type thing. Like, is it genuinely night by night you decide where you're going to go?
Yep.
And it could be how far?
8 hours.
And
like
then
if it's looking like rain, no, you just literally turn around and go the other way. Yeah.
And then obviously, like, the prep here, I thought it was normal, but it's clearly not. And the cars here present so much better, what I'm led to believe, than in the US, because they just race. Like, how much prep were you guys doing? Is it just wipe the panels down, flick through the motor and then go? Or talk us through what would, like, maybe not right at the start, but like in, say, the Terry McCall days or when you're chasing the no rain program, like, how much were you doing on the car in between races?
We were racing that much with that R19 car when Jason was driving it. And we had Leonard Lee. He was a crew chief. He's a bit of a wild man. His wife was sort of the 2IC, I guess, and he didn't really care about the car washes, mate. He just says, "I like my sleep better." So we used to hand wash it the next day, which annoyed the shit out of me. But we just kept driving, racing, and like, he was doing all the driving too. So fair enough.
Is there anything to that then, like sleep over the work, you reckon, or do you got to put the work in?
Oh, I like putting the work in, no doubt. And I probably learned a lot with that team of probably what not to do, but how it should be done because we weren't doing it. I don't know. We didn't have a lot of time, but he was doing the driving. Me and Jason were in the bloody hauler in the back, just watching TV. He's driving with his missus up front, and we're just pulling up to the next race. And he'll ring up and say, "Hang on, it's going to rain here. We're going somewhere else." And
would you have raced at so many tracks like you would not even know some of the tracks you went to? Is it much?
I remember a lot of them, like because a lot of times you'd always. I mean, there was a few that you don't remember because you only raced there once, but a lot of the time you'd always be going to the similar tracks.
Yeah, okay. And then obviously the big gig that you got on the World of Outlaws and stuff like that, was that like a lucky opportunity? Were you hunting that job down for a long time, and how did that come about?
Yeah, when I talked to Meyers, like we got to know it. You get to know everybody.
You're
always traveling. You get to know their families and just everyone really. So he'd sort of said to me at the time he didn't have the budget to have a third guy, so he was sort of still moving his elite racing into the top sort of tier team. So he'd said to me, like, would you be interested in coming to work for us, see if I could find the budget? And I said, look, 100%, mate, look, I'll be there. So that sort of opportunity came up. I think I'd got back here and he gave me a ring and I was just like, mate, how good this be? This is going to be awesome. Like, I've got something pre-lined up with months out. Like, I think I was working for Dave Sharman at the time. I think it was on Dan Morton's cars. McFadden was driving it as well. So yeah, I was so stoked to have something lined up because I'd always sort of have to wait to the last minute to make it happen. So it was so good. And then I think the first year I did 6 months with him. Next 2 years was like full time, had a proper work visa. They paid for all that. That was insane. So there's a lot of stuff to go to make all that happen, but they had a sponsor and he was, or the other team owner, and he was committed to making that happen. So that was really cool.
Up to like this point in time, do you remember who sort of you idolised? Like it would be different. I would assume that it might not have been a driver like most people. Like, do you remember walking around the pits? Was there like another crew chief or someone in the pits that you sort of emulated at that point?
Yeah, I mean, like Buzzy would always come over with all, Kerry Madsen, the Jeff Leask deal, and man, he won some classics. And I just like the way they operated, professionalism, the team, like everything was presented perfectly and trailers fitted out nice. It was just, and he was my guy that I sort of modeled myself on over here, to try and be like him. So yeah, I mean, I traveled a lot with him over the time and learnt a lot, just being with him and around him, and we don't really catch up too much these days, but he's definitely my guy that I was sort of thinking, this is how you got to be. But saying that back then there's a lot of really good crew chiefs, like Mouse Green, had the chance to work with him with Max. He's unreal and happy to help and show you along the way. There's a lot of guys that wouldn't show you stuff. So Dave Sharman, there's just so many. Nick Speed, like there's so many in my era that it was just, we're all pretty good mates and just hung out quite a bit.
Do you think that there's going to be a lack of people with your skill? Like, I don't know if it's the case now, but is it like bolt on, bolt off for parts and stuff like that now? Like, I would assume when you were cutting your teeth, you would have been making parts fit, like, and having to manipulate stuff to get stuff going. Whereas now they would make a part for that you would have had to. Is it like that now? Or do you think there still can be like another like draft of crew chiefs or people who really know, like in your era?
Yes and no. Like there was still plenty of parts back then, and we could sort of kit car it sort of thing. But when I was working with Meyers, like we had the off season where we would be machining weight out of stuff and just doing all those little 1%ers, that made a big difference. So yeah, probably not. Well, the biggest thing is I think now is like the people we don't, like when I was doing it, there was so many of us going over there working for $200 a week cash.
Yeah,
there's really not that many anymore. So that's what I get worried about is in 5 years' time, who's going to work on these things, and who's going to have the experience to do it.
Yeah, that's sort of like where I'm going with it as well, because I feel like the thing that everyone that has experience like yourself always, they don't really talk about what happens like on race night. It's the travel, it's the hotels, like that's where you learn, that's where you network, that's where you get other opportunities. And at the moment in Australia, there isn't sort of that crew traveling around, and that limits people's inability. Like, I'm genuinely mind blown about the lack of interaction within the pits here at the Motorplex. Like, I assumed it would be like that, but I understand it now because everyone's got to get home. Everyone's got to go wash up. Like, there's no, oh, we're all going to be at the hotel or this car wash or whatever. And it just doesn't seem to be that interaction between all the crew and stuff like that. I do think the World Series and all that helped develop people, gave people a taste of it, and then you're almost half doing it in Australia, and then the jump to America is not so big, but there must be a massive jump to do what you're doing now if you're just at the Motorplex every second Saturday.
Yeah.
Then to go over there.
Oh, the World Series was so good for developing kids into, people and crew guys, like, because we were on the road flat out racing all the time. We were showing them where the car washes were. We were showing them where the motels were. And it was just, there's so much more to think about. Right now it's not too bad just rolling down to the Plex and having a skid Saturday night, go to the car wash straight away, and, everyone goes home. A couple of beers. But back then, mate, you're breathing it, and that's what I live for.
Well, even when we went to Murray Bridge for the midget title this year, Buzzy told Chad the best car wash.
Yeah.
And no one was there. Like, they all gone to this other one, but he was bang on. It's like, that's his car wash that he knows about. And I was like, he just knew it straight off the top of his head, which one's the best. And I was like, I don't know why I thought about it. I was like, I wonder how many car washes Buzzy has in his head.
Yeah. Probably would have been there 25 times his life,
Yeah.
He just knows it.
And I wonder if it is because Buzzy's name's still synonymous in the sport. Like, you know what I mean? How long, like, when did you first go to America?
2005.
Yeah, so 20 years and like...
Yeah, and he'd already been there before me.
Yeah, but who's the next, like iteration of that? Like, who's the...
Well, that was a good thing when I heard Liam's story the other night. Like, that's what I like. I love that because there needs to be more of it. But unfortunately, kids these days, they want to make $1,000 a week and have all the fruit. But
today,
at the end of the day, you've got to learn before, you get the big dollars.
Yeah, you have. There's an apprenticeship for it, but and it must be tough even for the teams themselves to get these crew guys or get people and get consistency. Like, I'm sure you could get someone in and out every week, but like, I've helped a couple of teams, but I don't know anything. Like, I don't know where the fuel churns are. I don't know where all of that little things. And then I'm almost more of a hindrance than a help. And like, you need that consistency of stuff, and to try and get someone in there week in and week out. Like, just at the Motorplex without like a limited schedule, 22 nights every second, like, to get someone in America, it must be a nightmare.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, but it was definitely the time of my life, and plenty of memories that I'll be able to share with my kids and grandkids.
Is the Jason Meyers deal then the one that, like, you would always think about, like, the good old days? Is that the first time when you really had a grasp on exactly what you were doing and you started learning, like I said, machining parts and winning?
Yeah.
Really high profile. Like, is that the good old days?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was good to work in those sort of smaller teams as well, because they've all got their own story. They've all got their own characters and the way they did things. But when we stepped into the Meyers deal, it was just like, I mean, it was elite racing, and it was elite. So he's just so professional on the track, off the track, with how he speaks to his people. His biggest thing is his people, because he knows that if he doesn't have his people, he doesn't have anything.
Do you think there's enough emphasis put on sprint car teams? Like, it's not just the driver. Like, do you think, and I'll speak about it later, it's one of my questions, like, I feel like crew chiefs and drivers are hand in hand. Yeah. Like, if you've got a shit driver, it's hard to be a good crew chief. But if you're a really good driver and got a shit crew chief, hard to be good. Like, do you think, like you learnt maybe with Jason, like, that's the first time a sprint car team really mattered?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. I mean, and the on-track stuff's the small part. It's the logistics, the business, the dealing with the sponsors and just everything, getting down the road and
cohesion,
managing funds and trying to live together 24/7 with harmony, because that's easier said than done some days if you're having a bad night or something's going on, and it's tough out on the road.
And is it legit 24/7. It would be, hey, like
Yeah.
you'd go to the toilet on your own and that's about it. Like trailer, hotel, racetrack, 24/7.
Yeah.
And how many of yous were there in that team?
We had 3 of us, but we always had a sponsor or 2 out there as well. And then his wife Robin would be on the road with their 2 kids. So that was part of my role, was to help him drive his motorhome so he could spend some time with his family. So they'd be in the back while I'm just pounding down the road, and I didn't have my semi license at the time, so boys drove that. We just hooked up the trailer, the t-shirt trailer after the races, and head to the car wash or to the hotel, get ready for the next day.
And then with that, what's is there like a one race or even a year maybe that really sticks out in your mind as a highlight of your time in America? Like, is one particular event over there that you think about, like how good was that?
Probably we won a lot of races during that time, and I don't know, the whole 2010 championship when we won that was, you wouldn't have, if someone had said that to me when I first went over there, you'd just go, nah, wouldn't be in that sort of operation. We wouldn't be there. But yeah, that was pretty insane.
And what was your role that year? What was your like racetrack
role?
So
I was like number 2. So we had
like chief. A car chief?
Yeah. But, and we had tire guy, crew chief. And Jason had quite a bit of input on how it rolled and setups and everything. So we all worked as a team, really. So that was how I fast tracked my learning, because I could be a part of that. I wasn't just mountain tires or just putting front hubs on. Like, I was in it.
Yeah. I spoke to Chad about it today, and he said, I was like, oh, there's like 14 or 15 crew chiefs like in WA, and he goes, there's not. There's like 4 or 5 crew chiefs and there's 10 car chiefs. What would you say the difference is between the two?
I think it's just the experience. It's just the races under your belt. At the end of the day, if you've done the miles on the road and seen what we've seen, been lucky enough to see, you just, I don't know, it's probably just a little bit more all-round package, but you have to do the races to get there.
Yeah.
But if you're only doing 22 nights here a year, we're doing 22 in 6 weeks. So it's sort of, that's how you sort of break it down.
In terms of like the role though, if you're the crew chief and there's a car chief, are you spin the spanners, or you just telling them what changes to make and then they implement the change?
Yeah, a crew chief needs to be watching the track at all times, talking to the driver. It's not really a hands-on, depending on how many people you got to help. Like, I'm lucky enough to have the boys, they just get it done. So I'm usually running back last minute to say, hey, we need to change this, and they're probably hating me for it, but let's change the gears or whatever. So that's sort of, you just hand it over to them at that point, and if I can help, I will. But it's more about, all right, then we'll talk to Taylor. Let's get things, this is where we're at. We're going to do this. You need to do that. Let's get into it.
Is that a strength of yours in that, like watching the track?
It's just what you get. It's what you have to do to be good, because it always changes, and you need to know how to need to be on your feet.
And so just to cap this America thing off, 2010 World of Outlaws champs, you're the car chief. Like, what were those celebrations like? Did you sink a few tins?
Yeah, we put a few back.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's like, I always ask it, is it like pure excitement or is it like a relief? Because the pressure would have been building. You knew you were in the hunt the whole year. Yep. Is it relief to actually like win it, or were you just happy you didn't lose it, if that makes sense?
Well, that was when Donny Schatz was top of his game. I don't know how many he'd won up until that point, but probably 7 or 8, and he's just coming at you every night. Like, he just finishes every race. So that's the biggest thing there. You got to finish the races. So it could be in the work area, but you got to get it out. You got to get it back out there, because you have to get the points. It's all about points race, and unfortunately, sometimes you might drop a few wins here or there just because you have to finish instead of pulling the big slider for the win, or you just got to make sure you finish. Is
there a difference in racing over there then, given the not just like the amount of races, but that it is about a championship, and there is those like, I can let this one go, I've got 80 more. Like, is there a difference in racing over here than here in Perth when it's only 20?
Yeah, look, there's still, it was just so competitive back then, and it, like I said, probably was more competitive back then with the split now, but 100% you're still racing hard, no doubt, but it's always in the back of your mind, if you're running for that championship, you need to be consistent. And probably I learnt a lot when I came back here and did World Series. Like, you just can't have car failures, you can't have issues, and you always into your drivers, like you need to be finishing these races. That's why Brooke Dutton won so many, and James, like they've finished in races. So I've probably learned a lot over there about coming back here for World Series, I reckon.
Well, then talk about that. What was the decisions like to obviously leave such a prestigious team and obviously the success? What was the catalyst for you coming back to Australia?
Well, I actually got fired
Okay.
halfway through the year just because we weren't running good. Something had to give, and it was just my turn. I don't know, like it was just had to happen. And at the time, I was obviously pretty disappointed about it. But after a sort of bit of water went under the bridge, like I didn't really talk much to Jason for a while. Like we were best mates, and it was pretty hard, because my work visa was for them, not anyone else. So
right, and you can't. Yeah, right.
So if I'm not working there, I can't work there. So got fired. I mean, not many people probably even know that. Not that it really matters, but it was probably the best thing that could have happened. I just took off after that just because I came home, got settled down a little bit, got a house, got into racing over here, and I'm grateful for what happened. And we've obviously spoken since, and it's all good. Like we talked a lot about it, and he apologized. He said, like, I'm sorry, man. Like, that's just what had to happen at the time. I'm like, look, he was getting heat from sponsors and car, we had another car owner as well. And it was just the way it is, there's high pressure out there. So just, some things weren't gelling in the team, and it is what it is. So
to move back here though, at that stage, like, is that probably the best timing that it could have been to come back when you did, like with where the national scene was here?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
How many phone calls did you have to make to land something, or were they calling you?
It's kind of weird how it all happened. Like my parents live in Ballarat, so I'd just gone back home and just bought a car and just you don't have anything because you haven't been here.
Yeah, true.
Bought a car and
what'd you get?
I think it was just a little Honda.
Oh, you look like a Maloo type operator.
Nah, that was after. that was before I had my first car. Was a VSU.
Yeah,
so.
okay.
But yeah, I got a little Honda piece of shit thing, but hunted around in that, got a mountain bike, just did a few miles on that, cleared the head a little bit, and then Dave McFadden was there building the trailer for James, or for Scott and Steph Milling in Ballarat at Rod Matthews' workshop there. I kind of went down and gave him a bit of a hand on that, and then they got it finished, and they're going to Mackay because we used to start in Mackay back then, and James and Taylor were racing up there. He goes, "Hey, do you want to come and give us a hand? Like, I'm going to need some help. Can't do it all myself." So he goes, "You can help James and I'll help Taylor because I'll be arguing with James. So you go do that and I'll help Taylor." So that's how it kicked off.
Yeah, right. So that's how long you've known Taylor then?
Yeah.
It's a fair while, eh? You would have been a kid.
Yeah, he still is.
And so what was that team then? Was that totally where 25, like the same team?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that just snowballed a run.
Yeah, like Taylor used to do quite a bit of East Coast stuff back then if he could do a few races, Speed Week and things like that. So yeah, Dave would sort of put all the cars together, or he was helping Scott, and yeah, Scott just needed someone full time. So yeah, lucky enough to jump on board, and it was the best thing that ever happened.
How long did you stay with that team?
I think I was there
in that run.
We just stayed there, and then we got organised and ran World Series, and I think it was 3 or 4 years. Was
James like McFadden? I know he was good early, but was he always going to be where he is now?
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
He was born for it.
And you can, like, with that, is he as talented as you've seen behind the wheel? Like, you would have seen the ins and outs of that, and you've obviously seen plenty over in the US. Is like, did you just see him and you go, yeah, this kid's got it?
Yeah, he's special, and I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of special people that can do crazy things you can't even dream of. And it was good to be working with him at that stage of his career because, really, we were learning as we go. I'm learning how to run my own race team, like Jesus, and then he's learning how to be a professional race car driver at that time, and we just got on with it. And there was plenty of other professional outfits out there, and we just kind of did what we thought was right and stumbled on a few things here and there and got it done. And with his, I'm sure he carried me across the line more than I carried him, so it was pretty wild.
Is it weird to think like there can be those jumps with like the teams that are out there, and then I know you had experience, but like relatively, you might not have been like in the top, like say 5 or 6 crew chiefs, right? In terms of time spent. James is relatively new. You come together and you start winning. Like it's pretty rare for like your experience versus the results.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. We just kept it simple, and he just gassed it.
Do you think people do overcomplicate sprint cars?
Yeah, 100%. Doesn't matter what you're racing. There's always people overthinking it, and they're just frames with motors. And as long as that's right, nothing falls off. It's close. The driver, if he's good enough, will put it on the right part of the racetrack and get it done.
But you said that J-Mac did stuff you dreamed of. It made me think. Had you ever driven? Had any
Had a couple of
aspirations?
goes.
You like it or what?
It was all right. Like you felt like you were going a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
He just I don't know, had to go in America with Meyers' car and it was slicker than Betsy, and it was just like Jesus. But it was the best thing I ever did because I got a bit of a realization of what they're going through. Not that I was going anywhere near their speed, but you hit the throttle and the tires just lit up, and that was he wanted us to have a go so that we could understand what it feels like.
I always remember doing the 2-seater with Pride Motorsports when Robbie Farr did it. Track was gut slick, justy. The night after a Maddington round was fucked. The track was. I jumped in it and I thought, I will never say anyone's shit ever again.
Yeah.
Because I think I timed it. I'm a victim, mate. I was timing from when my missus was recording. We're doing like 18-second lap times.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, look, he's not going to make this corner. He's not going to make this corner.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking, I'll never criticise anyone. Like, I maybe haven't stuck to that, but yeah, it's very hard out there.
Yeah, I went in a 2-seater at Archerfield, and it's tiny, and it's just like, wow, man, that fence is right there. I can't even imagine being out here with 20 other blokes.
Yeah. Who was your 2-seater with?
Pete Thorley.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to race back in the day out there.
Todd
Bonless's crew guy.
You've been a proper crew chief with J-Mac then at the start. Was that like your official role?
Yeah, I think that was my first crew chief role.
And then you've transitioned into a number of other teams like post that.
Yep.
I guess just a snapshot of who you drove for, some highlights, and because like I said, mate, when I researched this, I was like, I spent 5 minutes on these. There's an hour.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but anyway, I was lucky enough to work for Scott and Steph.
Yeah,
they gave me my chance, and with James, and that probably helped with my pathway to here. Just because we were very successful, and I think we won 2 World Series, Australian title. Like that was a good 2 or 3 years, and it was just good fun. Good people to be around. I'm working for Scott and Steph now with Taylor. Like it's just a bit of a, I don't know, coming of home. Like I love them. They've done so much for me and my family, and love going racing on the weekends here, and good fun. But from there, kind of the mining sort of slowed down a little bit, so we sort of didn't race as much, or we weren't going to be racing as much. Got quite good friends with Jamie Veal at the time, and they got a big engineering shop, SW Engineering in Warrnambool, and that's my background. So I was just like, well, maybe I might go work for Jamie. They were obviously racing flat out as well. So I went work for Jamie and sort of was more looking to, once we settled down and had kids, and if I did get off the road, there was, there's a job there. I could work in the shed and sort of get off the race cars at some point, which I didn't know when that was going to be, but work for them guys. And then sort of tried to go out my own a little bit. That didn't work. That didn't hang around for too long, and worked for Glenn Sutherland, Mount Gambier. So it was a couple of hours, just through 2-3 days a week sort of thing.
Yep.
Had a great time with him. Had a great time with Veals as well. Go back to that. Won the Classic, won a World Series as well with him. When we won World Series, we weren't contracted for that, or James's too. So we never ever got the money.
Oh,
It was a weird deal. Probably never heard of that happening, but it was pretty wild. But anyway.
But just, and particularly those names to not be contracted, I just would have always assumed that.
Oh, there was just a lot of stuff going in the background those days. And, I guess Ken and Scott were just like, stuff it, we're just going to go alone. And if we don't go any good in points or whatever, we can shoot off here or there, whatever. But yeah, had a great time with them. Jamie was, awesome driver, very smooth, calculated, completely different to James. So I had to learn how we operated, raced in America with him. probably should go back a step. Went to America with James, raced over there. His first time racing in America was sort of part of that. A couple of different deals over there. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Me and Jimmy on the road in freaking motorhomes. It was pretty wild. But, it was a good time. But yeah, Veals were awesome to work for. Love them guys. And then
Just to cut in, how different would they have set a car up? Like, say if you put them in the same equipment, how similar would Jamie Veal and James McFadden have their car set up?
quite a bit different.
Yeah, okay.
Just the way Jamie drove is a lot more smoother and calculated, and James is more sort of hanging off the boards and win it or bin it style, which thankfully he binned a few, but we won more than we binned. So
Sorry to cut you off. I was just wondering like how different that would be.
yeah, and that's the good part about it. They're all different, you know. So you got to learn again and sort of get. At the end of the day, if you're not working together, it's not happening. So you sort of got to go, well, what do you want? Like, what's you're driving it?
Yep.
Let's work with that. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what old mate's doing next door. We just make it suit you.
Yep.
And I think that's where people go wrong sometimes. It's just they walk up and down the pits and, hey mate, what's it? Oh shit, he's doing that. You know.
That's me.
Yeah. Well.
Because I don't know anything. So I sort of slide my eye past the eye now, try and guess their pressures.
It's got the good shocks, mate.
Yeah, that's it. So then, the Veal. What about after Veal? Who did you?
So yeah, I was going to go out on my own and just kind of subcontract a little bit on the weekends, and that's when I sort of started doing the shock stuff. Got to know Eric Slade in America when we raced over there with Jamie. So I was sort of doing a bit of everything, and then went and worked for Southo, and they sort of said, "Do you want to come on full time? That'd suit us." And I was like, "It's not really what I want to do, but yeah, bloody oath, let's have a go." So did that, got him his first win in a sprint car ever at his home track. So
There's a common theme here, mate. There's a common theme.
that was one of my highlights, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like Southo's been racing for a long time, binned a lot of shit. Just a ripper bloke, ripper family. You know, his dad passed away a few years before I'd got there, but he wanted to see him succeed and go on the road. So we went on the road, did World Series. We got him that. I was an SRA win at Mount Gambier, beat Dave Murcott. That was a hell of a drive, and it was just so cool to see that. Like, that was as good as winning a World Series race for me because it was something new for him, you know. And he'd been aspiring to it forever, and his whole family was there. It was sick. So they were really good. Love them people. Still love them today. Can't wait to catch up with them next week in Darwin. Like, they're just good people. Everyone I've worked for is good people. They always, you're part of their family when you go work there. So after that, went and worked for Goodyer, Jock Goodyer.
Yep.
He'd been running for maybe a year or two, but I'd seen him before in a Formula 500, and I'm like, this kid's got it. And like, to be fair, like, he's as good as James at that age, or probably better, you know, when I started with him. So he was the stuff that he can do in a race car is insane.
To watch that GoPro footage of him at the Aussie title on the boards, it's like, it genuinely looks easy from the cockpit GoPro. It just looks easy. You don't know if it's the same lap on replay almost. Like, it's just smooth. Yeah. And I remember watching it from the crowd thinking, Jesus, he's like 10 centimetres off the wall, coming into 1 and 2 every lap, and he was just automatic.
Yeah, he's done a lot of time on the simulators and that when he was younger, and I think that plays a big part, you know, and some people can do it, some can't, but for him it worked out good. And yeah, I think he's definitely one of the best. Well, I think he's probably the best in Australia. Like, he's unbelievable what he can do when on his night. So yeah, worked for them. Had all our gear based at my house in Warrnambool.
Yep.
They just sort of flew in and flew out. I just met him there with the truck, and yeah, it was a good time. And then COVID hit, and it kind of everything turned to shit everywhere.
Yeah,
didn't race, but yeah, kind of that part of it.
But you've said the title and the classic and World Series. If you could only win one, what would it have been? The World Series, the Classic, or an Australian title? What sort of do you hold in the most prestige?
Classic.
Classic?
Yeah. I mean, I'd been to all of them as a kid, and that was my Knoxville Nationals, you know.
Yeah, I always think it's a Classic because it probably should be the title, but I know more Classic winners than Australian title winners.
Yeah. Like,
if you had a game, name as many as you can, you'd probably pick Classic winners over.
Yeah. It's just such a hard race to win. Everything's got to go right and have some luck.
Yeah, it's like the Melbourne Cup, I think. Like, there's so many variables like luck. Yeah. Then you got to make chances. You got to be safe.
Yeah.
Is it what is it like to watch? Have you ever just gone and watched? Like recently, or you always been on the
I
spanners?
think I've always worked for someone.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting in the kid as clear as day when I was a kid, sitting in the terrace, turn 2. It was instant. I loved it.
I reckon I'm going to try and get over there this year. Go and watch, just enough on the hill, get myself a deck chair.
You're gonna have to be there early to drop that chair out
Yeah.
there. You could do the chair run.
Yeah, those lines. I'm not keen on those lines. And then obviously, yeah, COVID hit, mate, and then there's a massive transition for you in terms of your life and your family and all the rest of it. And it's a move to WA. Like, what brought that on? Like, had you ever even thought about coming over here? Like, how did that play out?
Like when COVID hit, like obviously we didn't race, and I just said to Jock's dad, I was like, well, I'm gonna have to go and get another job because we're not racing. Just leave your gear here. That's all good. So I went and got another job. Went and worked for Jai at Elevate. So I went and built all the mules, trailers. Okay. Yeah, built my own go-kart trailer in COVID, and like it was really bad over there. Like we had to get a letter to go to work because we were
it was fucked
building special stuff that we had to be at work for. Like we rigged it up. Deluxe. But anyway, we went to work and learned a lot with Jai. Like I've known Jai since he used to take him to go-karts. My dad used to take him to go-karts with us when we were freaking 15 years old. Yeah. So that was cool to go work for him, learn a lot. Like he's a smart little bugger and still like he's building some awesome stuff at the moment.
Stuff's beautiful, eh?
We just got one of his new mills the other day, so keen to get into that for the season. But learned a lot there, and then house prices were crazy over there, so we were just sick of it. Like we went to Darwin. I think I don't know what year it was, but we got out of lockdown, went to Darwin, got a bit of freedom, came back, went to lockdown. Simone just said, "Nah, this is crap. We're out of here. We're either going to Queensland or Perth. You decide." And obviously, I'd known Proddy for a long, long time since when he first raced sprint cars, and got to know a lot of people over here. Always loved racing over here. When we came here, always brought my family over. So I was like, "Fuck it, we're going to Perth. Let's go." So sold the house, bought a big caravan, loaded up 2 kids, 2 dogs, just sent it.
It's so wild that Speedway has the impact on people enough to like move their families and stuff for it. Hey, it's just fucking a rattly go-kart with wings on a dirt track, man, and it can just take over your whole life, hey?
You just breathe it. Yeah.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
And then is this you now? Like,
yeah, man,
before...
we wouldn't be going. We love it here. There's so much opportunity. The weather's good. It's a good place to bring the kids up. They can come in the pits at the track. Yeah. That's a big thing, obviously, with everyone at the moment. So, my kids love it. My wife loves sitting on the hill at the Motorplex. It's a beautiful place. It's just a good place to live. We
don't get dirty. Chicken treats right there for the kids.
Yeah, we don't mind getting dirty, but just the fact that she can bring them down and see me during the night and scrape a bit of mud, and they'll get them into it pretty soon. And
the kids love it.
Yeah, they're born with it. You know, my youngest or my eldest was at Knoxville when he was 8 weeks old.
8 weeks. He's not had a choice, and that's it. They're in the carts now, are they? Or what are they doing?
Around dirt carts. Yeah, little fellas in the rookies and kids in the juniors. So,
what do you like on the dirt kart then? Like, obviously, you know how stuff works. How technical do you get with it, or do you just let them be?
I just let them go. They got to learn, and just got to learn how to race, and learn how to work on them and prepare them and make them look nice. And just like anything I've ever done, presentations, everything. And we just love it. They're good people at the dirt carts. I used to race bitumen when I was a kid, and I just swear I was never going to do that again. So it just works good. We live in Baldivis. The track's in Wellard. And we go to all the other tracks when we can, if they're not rained out, which they have been for the last 3 months. But we love it.
What do you like watching the kids versus like Taylor or J-Mac back in the day? Like, are you nervous like to watch them and that, or how does that play out?
Not really. You just want them to go good and sort of get going a bit harder and put a move on old mate. Like, my little one, he'll just do it. He doesn't care. But my eldest is a bit more calculated, you know. But he's a thinker.
Sounds like J-Mac and Veal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. But it's we love it. It's a good community out there. They love the kids, and I don't know. It's just the kids go and kick the footy between races. Like, it's just a good place to be.
Yeah, it's always like, I always thought that growing up around the footy club, I loved footy, but I don't reckon I watched a game.
Yep.
But it's like all the fun outside of that is what I actually loved.
Yep.
And then I always thought I love footy because I just went there and played with my mates.
Yep.
But you think you're loving the footy, but so you came over and you worked for Jason Pride.
Yeah, so I worked for one of Pridey's businesses when I got over here.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to have a crack in the mining industry for about 2 years.
Yep.
That was a bit of an eye-opener. Everyone in Perth's been to a mine, but for me to get my head around all that was a bit of an eye-opener, which I loved it because it was, all the big engineering stuff.
Yeah.
It was unreal. So I just got to be where I was just probably spending a bit more time away from the kids and Simone that I wanted to. So just finished up there. And at the time I was sort of helping Pridey when I first sort of moved over here with their cars. Robbie was sort of in and out a bit and sort of helping him and just sort of bouncing around. See all the shock stuff on the go. And then, Taylor rang me up and Neil had moved on to Monty's.
Mm-hmm.
So they were looking for someone and Moth had been there or whatever. But just bounced into that deal again and here we are.
Full circle.
Yeah, and I just help them out on the weekends. Like it's just good fun.
With that, then when did obviously Slade Precision Shocks? That's you. When did that sort of kick off? Was that ever like on your radar to move into that, or did you fall into it?
No, not really. Just a matter of when we went to America with Veal, McFadden was driving the 3G car, who was sort of the
Highlands, was it? Highlands?
that was before the Highlands. So 3G was Joe Goodyer XYZ car.
Okay.
And they were Joe Goodyer and Tim Norman best from XYZ were best mates with Eric Slade. And that was kind of the Slade development car that James was driving. Pretty famous car from all the years. So, obviously he's going all right. So I'm like, rang him up and I said, hey, man, it's Glen Beaton from Australia. He goes, oh, yeah, I've heard a lot about you, I said, well, I'm coming over to race with Jamie. We're going to race in Ohio. Just want to buy a set of shocks because obviously you guys build the shocks for this. Just give us 6 shocks and off we go. So we went over there and raced Ohio Speedway. Done really good there. I think we ran, I don't know whether we ran third for Ohio Speedway. That was pretty cool to do that. James was racing that car at the same time. So we were battling him there, Dale Blaney, buddy, all them guys. It was freaking pretty cool. So, and it just eventuated from there. Like I just said, oh, this is a pretty good product. Like I just liked Eric. Like he's just a good dude. So knew his shit, no bullshitting. Just if you had a question, just tell you. Wouldn't even think about it. Just like that's what it is.
He knew, yeah.
Yeah. Don't be thinking all these other theories. Like it's this, So I just always love that about him. He's straight up and just learnt from there and just trying to build a little business out of it on the side, and it's sort of grown into a pretty good little business now. And haven't had a whole lot of time for it lately, but we'll try and get into it a little bit this year to push it a little bit harder.
And just, I'm keen to get right into it, but when you were crewing on any of these other cars, like how much into the shocks were you? Like, did you have much to do with them, or was it just that Ohio Speed Week and then it sort of snowballed from that?
From there, I mean, I guess it probably started when you had something to do with it when you're in America, but the crew chief would always generally sort that stuff out. So when I sort of started working with James, had a bit to do with advanced racing shocks through Mark Cooper in Sydney. He was helping us out, and we didn't really know what we were doing. We were just sort of winging it a bit, with what we had in the trailer, and had a dyno and just sort of taught ourselves how to do all that. And it was a good way to be, just because you had to learn. And then sort of went with Vealy, got into the Slade deal, and then just kind of morphed from there.
And so now, like, obviously you do it over here and there's a heap of teams and stuff like that with it. But firstly, is there like a social media or anything like that for it?
Yeah, we've got a little Slade Facebook page, Slade Shocks Australia, I think it is. But it's one thing I haven't pushed a lot of, just because I haven't had a lot of time. But the social media is where it's at these days, so we probably need to get into it a little bit. But lucky enough to have some good dealers on the East Coast, GW Racing.
Yep.
Graham and Wendy and Ben works there now, so they've been selling shit out of them up there. Brett Lacey in Victoria. It's a good little network we got. Jeff Murphy here sells them. Jeff was probably the first guy in Australia to sell a Slade shock, so he does a few, and he's obviously been around a long time, and they're just good people to have. We'll sort of try and work together a bit and promote the brand, and the more we sell, the more we can fix, and hopefully you guys don't crash them, but that's how we make
hopefully
money.
You do.
Yeah, well.
And what about in terms of shocks? Is there like a sort of like a steady arc of in terms of technology for them? Has there been like a massive jump, around a certain period in terms of technology? Is it now? Was it like 2010? Or is it just a natural progression?
It just evolves every year. I
Yep.
think it's like anything, they're always trying to make things better. You just got to keep up with it, and that's when people get into the overthinking of it, I think. But I think if you just keep it simple and understand what you've got to play with without playing with too much, like too many options. I think if you keep it simple, that's always been my motto.
Can you almost know too much? Like I remember J-Mac, he did a thing about how at one stage he was like too involved in his engines because he knew too much and he was like overthinking it and that. Like you obviously deal with them day in, day out and you know them intricately. Yep. Do you ever get too deep in terms of it?
I haven't had not really. I mean, I don't know. I haven't had a lot of time, to get too far into it. Like, yeah, I'd love to go to America tomorrow and spend a month there with him, but it's just not going to happen. So we talk twice a week on the phone probably, and if I've got issues or I've got ideas or whatever, I'll just run it past him and he'll soon shut it down. I'll say, yeah, it's good, So that's what I mean. He's just a good guy to bounce stuff off and learn from. He's just straight up. So,
and in terms of then the Slade Shocks, is it something you do want? Like you want lots more customers? Like are you looking to progress that moving forward? Like how's that look for you in the next like year or two?
Yeah, I mean we're lucky enough to have quite a few cars in WA run them. So many classes here. The limiteds, the 360s, the formulas. We've got a lot of formulas out there. 410s are getting a bit more, and there's a lot of cars racing in Australia still, even though the money's getting a bit tight. So, I talk to the GW guys, they're selling a heap. I know Brett Lacey's selling a heap. He's selling the midget stuff as well, which I haven't really got into over here. But, there's always a chance to keep moving and, might sell a few more after this gets out. But I just like helping people, and my biggest thing is I love to, share my experience with people who need help, and that's what Speedway's all about. It's always been about helping people and, getting better.
Definitely you do help people. I always remember like in the pits, people running shocks over to you and you're trying to work on Taylor stuff and someone rocks up like halfway through with a set of shocks and I was like, oh, I wonder what they're doing there. And then that's when right at the start, when I pieced it together and then I've watched, mate, there's shocks getting dropped off all the time.
Yeah, it's mainly after the races, it's put it in my wife's little cart there and take all the dead ones home and fix them and try and turn them around as quick as we can and get them back to them, whether it be the next night or that next week. But try and pride myself on the customer service and the after sales service more than anything. If you ring up and I got a question 3 months later or 3 years later, I'm not just going to say, hey, mate, well, we've done that part. But you always want to see people succeed and do well. So if I can help them out with using my product, it's good for me and good for Eric.
It's just with that, like, I know you say you want to help people, and I've heard heaps of people talk about how you are well at that. Have you ever like put any thought into maybe pushing that a bit further in terms of like your shocks and your knowledge and stuff like that? Are you looking to branch out and get into anything more with that?
Yeah, so this year I've sort of started something new. I'm just going to try and put myself out there and sort of subcontract, I guess, bit of a Jeff Murphy style help people program. So idea is to go and put some cars together for people during the week if they don't have time or if they don't have the knowledge, we can show them. Similar thing on a race night or a fast Friday or a Wednesday night. Like there's the good thing about over here, there's plenty of track time, so we can go out and we can help them with their shocks or car setup or, whether we spend a day in the shed on the Tuesday with it and try and get everything set up, ready to go. So we know where we're at and then go out there on a Wednesday night and kind of dial it in a little bit for them, get them a bit more comfortable, and then they're off and running. Or, we could do it for 6 nights in a row, whatever. But that's my idea, is to go out there and try and help the people and, make a little bit of a business out of it. And obviously that gives me a little bit more time to put into the shocks as well. So I'm looking forward to that this year. I'll still help Taylor every race night that he races. And then, if we got some time, we'll go and work for someone else,
Do you think those Wednesday nights are extremely underutilised? Because I think people turn up on race night and learn. It's like you can get 30 to 40 laps on a Wednesday night. Like in New English, you're allowed to just roll straight back to the chute and you can go out and you can go out, you can go out.
Yep.
Like I don't think enough enough newcomers come and like I probably might even hit you up, like I could learn so much on those Wednesday nights because I'm just guessing the whole time. Like, do you think, say someone like yourself, if someone is looking to learn, like that Wednesday night is gold?
It's something that Perth Motorplex has got over every other track in Australia and the world pretty much. Like they just don't do that, which is the only sort of pain in the ass thing with speedway. Like it just doesn't happen enough. So if you can get out there and cut some laps just to make sure your shit runs or you're comfortable, like, you know, the track's always going to be quite fast on a Wednesday night. We all know that. But at the end of the day, as long as you go out there and get some laps in, it's not breaking records. It's just, as long as you got to feel comfortable in these. It doesn't matter what you drive. You got to be comfortable. So if you can go out there and get a few more laps in and just sort of dial it in a bit and go one way, then go the other, like that's how you learn.
And do you think so like, I guess, is that something you're really interested in then, is learning that and getting people to call you up, say, Glenn, can you come down on Wednesday night? Do you think, just to play it out in my head, is it more beneficial to get in on a Tuesday as well than maybe work through the car, come on a Wednesday, or just whatever it is?
Yeah, whatever. Like everyone's in a different sort of program, so they might have already someone working on the car. They can't make it Wednesday, might be able to go help. And I don't know. It's just I'll work with anyone and sort of, we'll make a plan.
And would that be just through Slade Shocks Australia then, that website?
Just build it through the Facebook page and
not a hard man to get hold of. They get into it, mate. I hope it works out for you, mate. It sounds like that is something that definitely needs to happen because so many people are guessing in the pits. I know we talk about there is in the sprint cars there's 14 or 15, but if there's 30 cars, so 15 of them are guessing in the sprint cars, and then I don't know how many in limited. I know that there's a lot of us guessing in the wingless, and you're investing so much into it, you may as well continue to invest to make sure you are getting the best out of your program.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're all guessing at the end of the day, but if you can get your guess closer to being right.
Yeah, yours is more of an educated guess.
Yeah, and if we can help those people fast track, like I'm lucky enough to be going to Darwin next week to help Chad Pittard. Like he's done 3 410 shows in his career. We're not going up there to win the races, like we know that, but we're going up there to try and help him fast track their learnings. Yeah. And for being on the track 3 nights in a row is going to be so beneficial for him. His crew chief, just to have the laps, just keep lapping like they're running this weekend. So they get a couple of nights here, make sure everything's good. And then, lucky enough they want me to go up and help him, give him a hand next week, which is great. They run our Shocks. I've known him for a while. Yeah. They're just good dudes. And if we can help them out, they come away from that weekend thinking, mate, this is a good experience and we've learned a lot out of it. It's going to be good.
Well, I speak about it. Unless you're winning, every race is just preparation for the next one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just racing. You lose more times than you win.
Yeah.
When you win, you've got to enjoy it.
Yeah. What about the progression of the sport? Like, has there been a massive jump? Because I look at all those records, and there's records from 2005 still, 2010, and I'm thinking the cars have, I'm guessing, tripled in price. Yep. The technology is, to every detail. Like, how come there can still be lap records from 20 years ago with all the progression? Like, what do you think has been the biggest progression in the sport?
Obviously, motors are quicker, shock technology's there. The cars really haven't changed that much, the chassis themselves. I don't know. There's always parts that come and go, they're always throwing stuff at it. Titanium rear arms, everyone was on them, now they're off them. It's just, there's a lot of things that people think work and they've got to have it just because old mate's got it. But I don't know. A lot of the time we always seem to go back to basic standard shit.
And it's like, have they changed track preps at all? Do you think? That's what I always wonder. I remember like Carl Dowling had the track record for ages, and I'm like, how can he still have it? Like, all the cars have gone there. Do they prep them any different, do you reckon?
I don't know. The dirt might have been a bit different back then, a bit grippier, or I don't know. I really look too far into it. You just sort of deal with what you've got on the night, I guess. And
I spoke about it earlier in the episode that, like, I talk about with my mates and stuff, like where I'm at with what I do. I sort of can't go and look at the track as much as I want because I got to come back and work on the car, and then talk about people who do have a crew chief and stuff, like they can only go and watch the track if they fully trust their crew chief. Yeah. So where I'm getting at the top end of the sport, the crew chief and driver, is it more, not 50-50, but is it more even than what people would realise, like your contribution, and not just yours, so crew chief and a driver, that's more of a team than what people would realise in terms of achieving success?
Absolutely. If I don't have the car where it needs to be, he can't do his job. So he's got to have the confidence in what I'm doing to be able to run on that part of the track. If I tell him, hey, mate, we're going to be on the fence or the bottom or whatever, especially in qualifying at the Motorplex, like you've really got to, if I say, hey, mate, we've got to rip the bottom here, like he's got to rip the bottom, otherwise he's not going to be at the front. Just as simple as that. Like I'm always, like every crew chief, you're always watching the last few cars before and you're up there and you really got to, like, they just sit in the car. They don't know. They might be able to see the big screen or a couple of corners, but you've really got to work as a team. And I don't know. It's like footy. If not everyone's getting along, and it doesn't work, you know.
I thought about it the whole time when you were talking about your relationship with like Scott Milling and Sutherland and all that. Like everyone who's winning's having fun. And
Yeah.
I always wonder, do winners have fun, or is winning fun, if that makes sense? But I feel like I always look back at footy. Everyone has to be happy. Everyone has to be getting along and stuff like that. Like I just don't think people put enough emphasis, and I haven't mentioned it, but Scott Milling, car owner, like the fans on the hill owe these car owners so much, mate, because without these people, that we don't get to watch sprint cars. Like, and again, it's something else. People don't realise how much effort, we'll talk about Scott Milling in this instance, but how much they've dedicated to the sport in terms of just putting cars out on the track.
Oh, absolutely. And the amount of full-time crew chiefs, especially in Perth, has obviously risen over the last few years just because of the Motorplex and the professionalism. And, you know, those blokes relying on those car owners for their income. You know, they're paying their mortgages. So, you know, we owe so much to these people. And like you said, the fans do. They just don't understand what it takes to, well, a lot of people don't understand what it takes to put one of these things on the track, let alone a couple of cars. You know, some teams run 2 cars. Like, it's insane the amount of money these people put in. Like, at the end of the day, it's just their hobby. They can't treat it as a business really, because you don't really make bugger all money in it compared to what you're putting into it. So it's insane the amount of money that some of these people have put in over the years, like a Luch Monty, a Scott Milling. Like, it's crazy what they would have spent over the time. But, you know, they love it. Just like us, it's in their blood. They just keep ticking.
That's and naive from me to think this, but I used to think like me on the hill loved speedway like probably more than these guys who get to come and do it. And then my mentality's changed, like to see like a guy like Dan Golding, who's dedicated everything to making a successful business to put cars on the track, and he loves speedway, and a Ryan Cricky, a Scott Milling, like they love speedway more than most because they're dedicating everything to it to build successful businesses and then return it onto the track.
Yeah. I mean, Pridey's a good example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pride. Yeah, because he presents really well and stuff like that. Mate, he loves it. Like, he's a fan. Hey, like, when I interviewed him, he was talking, I was like, fuck, he loves speedway more than me. Like,
mate, the stuff that he's going on in his life outside with business, like you wouldn't believe what he goes on in his life during the day, and he just switches off and just goes to the races and race. Like, I just can't believe what he does most weekends. And even when you're chatting to him, you don't even know what's going on in the background. And, you know, I've worked for him, so I know the small part of it, and it's just crazy. Like, but he just lives for Saturday night.
And so the crew chief and driver thing, I guess, like, even like guys like yourself with a name and a reputation, like you might come and set my car up exactly how I do it, but in my head I'd be like, Glen Beaton set my car up. And then, you know, and that's confidence, which is what this whole game is.
It's all mental.
Yep.
I mean, you can have the best car. I can give you anyone. You got the best car, but if your head's not in the game and confident and trust and all that sort of thing, it'll be no good.
Mate, where do you reckon the next technological jump comes from in sprint cars? Is there anything that you think is coming, like, or where do you think the next like big improvement in cars could come from?
I don't know. I think it's just refining what you've got, like just making what you've got work, little fine tuning. Like the motors put out so much horsepower these days, and you know they're at their peak of how much we can get the tires to grip, and whether the driver can handle that. You know, like some of the guys that run the smaller motors are generally running better, you know, because they can, when it comes to the end of the night, they can actually wheel the things. They mightn't qualify perfect, but they can wheel these things when it gets slick. So I don't know. I think it's just about refining. Like it's about tuning the motors, and if they come up with some more stuff with that, it's going to help, But I don't know. There's a lot of 1%ers that if you get 10 of those things right over the year, well, you're going to be 10% better than what you were at the start of the year.
What do you think you would make the most changes on throughout a night? Is it shocks? Is it wheel spacing? Like, what do you sort of tend to make even engine detuning the engine as it gets slicker? Like, what do you sort of make the most changes on?
Like we're lucky enough to race the Motorplex most nights, so we have a decent base package. So when we roll out for qualifying,
Yeah, you guys do.
We are on the same program as what we did the week before.
Yep.
So he knows exactly what he's got. So he knows the confidence in the car. He can just rail it in there. I've just got to tell him where to be. As long as he's on that, like we'll be hopefully in the top 4, That's the goal. But probably, wheel offsets a little bit, shock settings, but it's only fine tuning because our base is pretty close most nights. Gears, engine tuning a little bit, but they're pretty basic. There's no need to overthink it.
Yeah, it's sort of, I don't know. I always like to get into the nitty gritty, but unfortunately, I think it's just more simple and mental than most people would realise.
Yeah, if his any driver's head's right, they're going to drive the shit out of it, whether you got a freaking 7 off on or a 6 off on. Like they're going to just wheel it. Mightn't be perfect, but sometimes they can make more of a difference than what I can. Yeah, that's true. I've never thought of that.
Yeah, like a mentality could make more of a difference almost sometimes, like with how they're going about it. Not to minimise your role or anything like that, but it is mental.
Yeah, if you're not entering on the cushion properly, like Callum Williamson, you're probably not going to win. You know what I mean? Like if you're sliding to it, you're probably going to right rear in, right front in, and front in it. Like it's a matter of millimeters, but that's a confidence thing.
One thing I wanted to get your thoughts on. I don't know if you've been across that Andrew Corbett stuff, and I don't care about your thoughts on that necessarily. But what I wanted to ask you about with, like, I know you would know these cars and have seen more than most. Do you think there's enough dialogue between the people who make decisions like this and the guys actually implementing stuff like yourself who are on the cars all the time? And like, I don't expect you to call it out or anything like that, but like, do you think they should just be like, this is what we're thinking about, like, or this is what we want to improve? Do you have any thoughts on it? Do you think there's enough of that dialogue?
No, not at all. And there never has been, to be honest, in Australian Speedway. It's so much one of the frustrating parts is how it's controlled and the rules and how they come across. And, it's definitely something that can be improved on, but unfortunately over the years it hasn't really improved bugger all. So that's a bit frustrating because at the end of the day, these car owners are the ones spending the money. If they want to put their high speed on the top of the tank, well, fucking off they go. It's just I don't know. It's never been a strong point of Australian Speedway, and it's probably the most frustrating thing with most of us as guys that work on them and car owners that, we're the ones, or they're the ones spending the money. So how about we try and listen to them guys a little bit, give them a little bit of input.
They spend the money, you implement it, and the drivers are the people that live and die by the consequences.
Yeah.
And a third party dictates it. When he said that, it just started to make me think, I'm like, how could you make a decision like that without speaking to 20 people? You'll never get the same, but you'll get a consensus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating. And, the couple of times we do race under their sort of rules during the year with Australian titles and all that sort of thing, it's the most shit race of the year just because it's going to be a shit fight. You're pumping motors, you're doing this, you're doing that. And it's just, sometimes you don't even want to go. And I reckon I'll speak for about 99% of crew chiefs that have worked on these things for 15 years. It's just it's part of the sport that we don't like because it's different to, it's just not normal. And it's just seems unnecessary, some of the stuff that they carry on with. But anyway, whatever. We all want to win an Australian title, so we go. But it does get a bit frustrating. Yeah,
because it seems like, again, it's not like you guys just don't want to do something. Like, you guys are practical about it, like, well, we shouldn't do this because of X, Y, and Z. Not like, I understand, like, say that high speed thing. That's one incident, like, but I would imagine, well, you've got evidence of, say, 100 crashes where it hasn't happened.
Yeah,
you've got one where it did. You can't react to the one. You react to the 100.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's why it's frustrating because it's just not talked about as a group, and I don't know.
It's just. Again, it was that Andrew Corbett thing, and I just started to thinking, like, how could they not ask? It's like someone telling an AFL player, like, how to kick.
Yeah.
like who doesn't play. You'd be like, mate, I'm the one out here kicking it. Like me and my coaches will make the decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Yeah, we've probably banged on that enough. Have drivers got better?
They've had to,
Yep.
just because it's a fine line. Like if you're not 99% committed, like if you're 85, you're a long way off. So you have to be good. You have to be better. You have to rail that thing. You have to make better decisions quicker. It's all happening pretty quick out there. The pace, it's just have a look at the Motorplex, especially at the start and the end of the year when the track's quick. Like it's happening out there. Like it's all go. And then you bring in the guys from high limit and everything like that. Like you're either sliding someone or getting slid. So you need to make good decisions real quick.
Yeah, I was keen to get your thoughts on like, say the very top end of town in terms of talent wise is like a 99. I wonder, say when you went over with Jason Meyers and stuff, was there maybe only 2 dudes at 99, and now there's 10 dudes at 99, or have the top end? There's still only a couple at the very top, and everyone's around it.
No, I think like in Perth, like now, like there's so many guys that can win a race on a night. Like that track, if you're out in front, it's freaking hard to catch unless they make mistakes or whatever. Like you got to be pretty good to come from 6th even, So these guys are getting pretty good here. So that's what makes it good to go race there every week, and they make you up your ante every week and try and dial it in a bit more and get your driver dialed in. It's just everything's got to work,
Is there someone else's car who you respect that you watch like more than most? I asked Liam the same thing, but yeah, is there like, I don't know, say, oh, that's Buzzy's car. Like I'll just see what that one's doing. Like we're not doing this. Like, is there a car you sort of look to the most?
Not really. I mean, you're always looking at every car. You're trying to get as much data on everything and everyone. So, like if a Jock comes over or a James or a Jamie or whoever, like you definitely poke your ears up a little bit and see what they're doing, just because they haven't raced here for a while and they're usually on the pace straight away. So, yeah, I don't know. You're always looking at everyone. That's your job.
Would that be a fine line, like you said, about overcomplicating and maybe not getting caught up with everyone else is doing? Like, what do you think? If you're on the mesh at the Motorplex, are you watching cars or the track?
I'm looking at where the cars are on the track and how they can sort of get the most out of that corner, like where they need to be on entry, or you're watching everything.
Mate, what would be the best race that you've ever seen?
Seen a lot of them.
Yeah, that's why I thought it'd be sick to get your answer. Like, and I know I'm on your spot,
when I was a kid, Gary Brazier came from like deep in the B at the Classic, and I think he ran second in the the feature, and it was just insane. But there's been so many over the time. Like, I don't know, here in America, like I've watched a lot, so you're always going to see more if you like better ones if you watch more of it.
With how much you have been, do you still get excited? Like say for like that high limit, or just Powerpalooza?
Just Saturday night.
Yeah.
Like can't wait to get back into it.
And what about like how are you to watch it? Do you get nervous, or is it just business? Like how are you, and when are you the most nervous?
I don't really get nervous. I just get, I don't know what the word is. Like you want to go well, so you think your stuff's where it needs to be when it pushes out the gate, and you're hoping that it's all good, but you might get back up to the track and it's changed, and you go, Jesus, there should have been a couple of clicks here different. Like it doesn't take much to be off, so that's what makes it challenging these days. Because if you are a little bit off, well, he's going to be off. Doesn't matter how, like he might be able to make it up, but fuck, hard work.
Yeah, I remember when we talked about that. Then I think Taylor was one of the examples, and I spoke about it in qualifying between. I think Taylor was second and Jason Pride was 17th. It was like 0.2 of a second, which was 7 meters.
Yeah.
Over the whole Motorplex. And then 0.2, 7 meters. Taylor was thinking, fuck, we got that right. Jason's thinking, we fucked that. But they didn't. It's so tight. And what's phenomenal about that is how you guys can consistently be the ones up the front. Do you know what I mean? Like you would think if it's that small of a margin, like it would just throw up different results. And it can, but generally everyone finishes in a similar spot given the tiny little margins in it.
Yeah, I think it's just about, when you're working with someone and you've been working, you look at the people that are up front, like they've had their crew chiefs for 2 or 3, 4, 5 years, Crickies, Callum, like you know what you got, you're rolling out that gate, we're confident with what we got, what we're doing, what we did last week. We know what we're doing. Let's just hit our marks, and we know we're going to be close. But we know it's going to be tight. So you got to be fucking right on your marks, and car's got to be good. It's just, yeah, it's tough.
What's your favourite event that you'll race this year? Say just for the Maddington Toyota Series. Or which event are you looking forward to the most?
Oh, I mean, High Limit's going to be insane this year by the sounds of it. So, I mean, the show there last year was just fucking crazy. You couldn't have even believed that they could have pulled that off. And what Gavin and his team did was just unreal. And
for the first
everyone's
crack.
still talking about it.
Yeah, it's their first crack too. It's not like a 10-year thing and they nailed it.
Yeah.
That's the first crack.
Like I was talking to Gav the other day at Priority Season launch, and when he was in America, they're still talking about it, and they're all trying to make plans on how to get out here. Like, that's what you want, and that's probably how the Classic used to be, back in the day, but so it's lost a little bit now. But I think since COVID it changed a little bit, but I think it's starting to swing the other way now. And what we got here, we're so lucky to have the Motorplex, Gav and his team doing an unreal job. And just the area, the beaches, like, people want to come, and it's their holiday really, so they have to make it. It has to be like that. So now they're trying to work as hard as they can to get a ride or bring cars over or whatever. So it's pretty cool to see them come over here, and it's going to be tough.
Well, they're talking about at least 12 US drivers coming, and if there's 24 in the feature,
and they're not shit boxes.
And then so you take that 12, you take the top 12 from our series, but then that's not all of it, because then everyone comes from over east.
Yep.
Like, man, there could be, and I got tuned out heaps. In one of the podcasts, I said there was only, I don't think I said it, but it was mentioned that was only a couple that made all the High Limit shows. Oh, I got a lot of messages. Sorry, Taylor. But you think about like the quality that are going to come from over east. 12 US based drivers, like, fuck, that's going to be a show.
Yeah, and that was probably one of our highlights for the year last year, is just to have a good run through that week. And he did an awesome job, and we learnt heaps because we were racing them guys. And I mean, you learn stuff every night. You just keep learning. But that was bit of a highlight for last year for us.
Is there still, and I'm assuming it'd be any event, but like, is there a bucket list event that you want to win again or for the first time?
Probably one thing that I haven't actually won. Sounds a bit arrogant, but the Cricky Boys.
Yep.
Barry won it in Jason's car, but I was still over east. I think it was COVID or whatever, but I wasn't working on it that night. But it's one thing I've never actually won, and coming over here for a long, long time when it was in Bunbury, and lucky enough to spend a lot of time with the Crickies over the years away from the racetrack. Good friends with Shane, Ryan, little Pete when he was working there. It's just a big race in my heart because them guys, Ronnie, Johnny, like, they're all good people, and that's their gig, their race. A bit different now because of the Motorplex, I think, but back in Bunbury it was pretty cool. But still Cricky Boys, like, I still want to win it. But I used to love coming over here and doing that race. It was just something about it. Like, at the time, Bunbury was a pretty bit of shithole, but you still loved going there. The after party, like, it was just a Aurora, like, it was just a good race to go to.
There's enough. Who was I speaking to? Bo McInerney, James Inglis' crew chief. He was saying over east they have rounds. Here we have events.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, and that just speaks to it. Crickies. Like,
you look at the schedule. Everyone's got a name. Yep. Like, it's not round one. It's Powapalooza or whatever.
An event.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's cool.
And so you're excited for this season? Like, you just want to go?
Yeah. I mean, we had a pretty shitty end to last year when Taylor got hurt and that. Yeah. But, we had a good run up until then, like, we ran third in the series, and like, for us, that was, our aim was top five, and we ran third. So, and that's because we ran good through High Limit, and it was just a pretty good consistent year. Just didn't end that well, but shit happens. I can build some more and go again. But luckily he was all right. But yeah, we're looking forward to getting out there. I like to speak to him every day about it. He's building the cars in Cal. It's a bit hard for me to get up there, but he's keen as, and yeah.
Is his most like the event he will be looking forward to, is it Kalgoorlie? Like, do you reckon, again, it's because I know teams are like, oh, we got to go to Cal. But it's like, fucking Taylor does it every week or every round. Like, is that talked about or not talked about it? Do people acknowledge that enough, that commitment?
I don't think so. They just see the truck rock up, and they just, who knows where they think it comes from. But them dudes do some miles, so, and have done for years. Not just this last year. Like, that's a lot of trips.
Imagine, not just that. Imagine all the trips,
Oh.
like the kilometers that. Could there be anyone that does more kilometres than them
Probably not. Like
over the journey?
I built that truck when I worked for him in whatever year it was, 2012. And
Yeah,
they're
right. Still
running
going.
it. Me and Dave McFadden and a couple of the Fabbies up there built that thing, and it's still running.
Same engine?
I think so.
Taylor, I need a kilometre check, mate. Give us a kilometre check.
But yeah, she's a good old rig.
Mate, all right. Well, we'll talk about it. I'm hoping to try and catch you and Taylor and do one of the driver crew chief things. We'll get into a bit more. But do you have expectations from the year, or is it just continually improve?
Yeah, just keep getting better every night and just learning. And he's come a long way as a driver. Like he's ran for a long, long time. People probably don't realise how long he's raced, but he wasn't racing all the time, so it's hard to get in and out of the car. And he puts, like, no one probably realised, but he puts all the time in on the cars during the week. And all these other guys have got the top two we ran third to this year. They got full-time crew chiefs, whereas he's driving it back to Kalgoorlie, working on himself, getting it back down here, driving back. Like, it's pretty, and going to work, so, and it's all after hours on the car. So he does a pretty good job to get this thing up and down the road. And
yeah, I didn't realise that. So he's building these cars. That's him.
Yeah, he's up there building new ones right now. But it's we don't have any maintenance issues, parts failures. Like he's a good mechanic. Like, that's his trade for a job. He works for his dad in the drill rigs, and he's pedantic, and that's what I like. You rock up at the track, everything's perfect. Scotty gives him a hand.
Looks good.
Yeah, it's neat. It's presented well, and they're just a good people to be around. So this year, I mean, look, we ran third last year, and like realistically, that's like we want to win. But
That's just the bar now.
If we can run top three again, that'd be great. But let's just see how we go. And there's no pressure. That's a good thing about Scott, Steph. Like, as long as everyone's happy, we'll keep doing it, and he'll keep doing it forever. And at the end of the day, we'll have a couple of beers after it, and just as long as we have a good time, everyone's getting along, we'll keep doing it and enjoying it.
Sweet. All right. Well, yeah, mate. It's an hour and a half. We'll wrap that up. Again, Slade Shocks. Pump it up. I'll put a little link into it, but Slade Shocks Australia, and then if anyone's looking for almost hire a crew chief for a night or advice, shocks, whatever it is, get hold of Glenn and he'll put you on the podium, guaranteed.
I don't know about that. We'll give her a go.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate your time. Yeah, awesome little interview, and thanks, mate. Catch up.
No worries, man. Thanks.